In this video, I would like to talk to you about what we can expect from the near future regarding technology and organization, and especially when we are going to have a look at what's going to happen when we start using AI, especially AI in the web environment, which we have now. What can we expect on the way we start to organize? Other major changes in the way we have to look at corporations and how they are organized locally, globally. How is governance being structured? What kind of other modeling are we going to see for governments? And next to that, for the economy itself, what will be the impact of the developments which are happening now and the way we are modeling our economy? There's one thing we know for sure, and that's complexity increases. In the 70s of the last century, we started to introduce internet and web. And we defined it by Web 1.0, which allowed people connecting to applications which were running somewhere else on central systems. But technology has not stopped. We started to improve the web. So we now slowly start reaching level 5, which not only allows you to connect to application elsewhere, but also allows you to connect directly to somebody else running on a computer or using your smartphone. This will introduce self-sovereignty because we get peer-to-peer transactions on the web, and you can steer your own transactions. The other major increase of complexity is the fact that originally we had very small tribes, small groups. We were operating in small areas. Now we are part of all kinds of networks. Networks over the web, networks with friends, networks for sport, the family network. How are all these networks cooperating with each other? How do we form teams in those networks? And not only on a local basis, but also globally, when you want to work together with somebody all over the world because you want to do something special. This is increasing complexity. From the governance point of view, you see that we are going from a nation state to a family construction consisting out of local communities, because people want to have a local environment in which they operate. But at the same time, we have global institutes because we found out that we are all interlinked. We are all working together. We cannot just say, here is the border, and I'm not interested what you are doing on the other side of the border, because what's happening on the other side of the border has influence on what you do in your own community. And this is being supported by new developments, which allow us to have decentralized supervision. AI and smart contracts are new technologies which will allow us to have decentralized supervision according to global rules and regulations made by global institutes. And we need that because we are going slowly from a nation state to a world which is globally intertwined. We cannot cut the wires anymore. We cannot say, I'm alone on Earth. I cannot say it's only my group and I'm not interested in all the others. Every small move you make or any government makes somewhere at the world has immediately impact on all over the world, which increases the complexity enormous, because how can you keep track of everything? Technology can help us with that. Technology helps us because the increased functionality of web applications, like I said in Web 5.0, will allow personalized services, but still being connected on a global basis. By using artificial intelligence, you have access to data all over the world, which can be used on a local level. But at the same time, you can communicate all over the world. You can form new groups all over the world. So technology can help us to implement what we naturally would like to do, namely a local environment, but still being connected globally. Another technology development is the fact that we are implementing decentralized ledgers with smart contracts. Those smart contracts, which are in fact programmable contracts, allow us to make regulations regarding transactions. And so in that way, we can make peer-to-peer global transactions fully transparent, stored in the ledger in a transparent way, in such a way that the connectivity all over the world increases, but at the same time, you will not lose your self-sovereignty. But of course, you also need to look at how you organize it. What kind of organization is going together with that type of technology? And repeating myself, because I think it's very important to understand that people have a wish for local structures. We might have 1,500 followers, but we don't have 1,500 friends. We only have a small part of friends. Trust is very important, and trust is something which you can build up independent of distance, but only to a small amount of people, not to everybody. Trust in social capital, trust in networks is a basis for organizing. Next to trust, you still need those regulations I was talking about, because you don't want to have criminals getting into your networks and disrupting the trust. You want to have a structure which is safe, which allows self-sovereignty and trust. But the second thing is that we are very, very much used to only calculate, to make models based on financial capital, money, assets like money. In fact, this type of organization, and especially when we start using AI, which is based on access to data, access to knowledge, access to other people with other skills, we can see that this is changing, because what is becoming important in the world is not just the financial capital, but also the human capital. And the third capital as well, which is called social capital. The social capital is based on the relations you have, the network structures you are operating in, and the exchange you have in those networks with other people is based on the trust, which I described previously. So we should not model anymore just based on financial capital. Making economy models just based on GDP and all that, those numbers, is only looking at a small part of the total economy, where the new economy and the new organization going with that is much broader, taking into account financial, human, and social capital. That's the way we can solve some of the complexity, because it will allow us to operate on a local environment, in a local area, in local networks. But at the same time, we can see how you can operate also within a global structure. How networks can link to each other, how networks can operate on a global level based on this new modeling, not only on financial capital, but also human and social capital. Thank you for your attention.